Well, here we are again. Deja vu. Consequences. Right? Well, not the type of consequences that I expected or probably anybody else. There are a time for consequences, and then there are unrealistic consequences. Consequences that other people take upon themselves to inflict. That they feel justified in going out and doing for the world, for themselves. Except, where does this self-righteous feeling come from? Just because people in this world think a certain way, do a certain way, doesn't mean we get to silence them. Now, we can share our opinion. We can engage in debate. We can, thoughtfully think through what we're going to say. But what I see is the anger bent from frustration. When you have intellectual thought, when you sit back and think about something that you're going to say, usually it comes out a little bit better, a little bit more articulate. But when you just say whatever pops into your head, odds are it's probably going to be relatively stupid, somewhat asinine. You may think that you watch people on TV, on screens, on streaming platforms that they are just running off the cuff. And they may here and there, but they go into what they're going to talk about, what they're going to review, kind of having an idea of what their opinion is. And that very much affects what they reply with. When we don't have words or answers, that's when some stupid shit comes out of our mouth. Now, I want you to think about this. When I get in arguments with my wife sometimes, the frustration she starts to show is usually because she doesn't know what to say. My argument style is similar to someone who just paid a price, a consequence they didn't deserve, where I question the statement. What did you see? When was I doing this? Give me some examples. See, my thought process isn't to be frustrating or to be agitating. It's to figure out where the core of it is from and try to find a way to find a solution without going against my own memories, my own thoughts, the things I remember happening. And because she can have memory issues sometimes, it turns into frustration because she doesn't have an answer. She knows she feels a certain way. She doesn't know why she feels a certain way. And that turns into dropping insults, dropping comments. Now, I want you to think, as social media is flooded with repeats of interviews, of conversations, of things that have been said on different college campuses, and it's just filled the media space with all of these conversations. Look at the major clips as they're coming up. Look and listen closely to the body language and the words that aren't there. You may just laugh and everybody's saying this humor, but I want you to look a little bit deeper. Because when you do, what you see is a man asking questions and people that do not know what to say. It either comes out with the first thing that pops into their head because they're unprepared and it sounds ridiculous and it makes us all laugh. Or it comes out as frustration. A lot of times shouting over the other person, yelling over the other person, calling names, insults, or in worst case scenarios, leading towards violence. Violence is the epitome of that frustration. It's, you got to think when you're at a bar and somebody's drunk and a fist fight develops. A lot of times that's because the incoherence of the mind in the situation can't formulate a thought. And instead, it's just like, oh, I'm just going to hit you because that'll end the conversation. And it does. Not effectively and not for anyone's good. Dialogue, if it's true dialogue between equals, won't end up that way. And I think one thing that we're losing, a lot of people aren't seeing in these conversations between these students and the individual who passed because of undeserved consequences is two people that are not equal in almost every situation. And I think that is the one negative to what was being done. He was walking in there fully capable, equipped 10 times higher, prepared on all of his topics and things he knows he's going to get questioned on. And the people coming and ask questions, they're not debaters. They are young, they are stupid, and they have a very social media driven blind view of everything. Everything. Because where are they getting these type of comments from? Oh, you're a fascist. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're this, that. And then when you're questioned as to why you think this, the answers don't come. Why? Because they are just parroting what they see on social media. They are looking and hearing and repeating just like a parrot does in your house. Why? Because they're angry and they don't know what to say, so they repeat what other people have said. And they don't have proof. I remember when my oldest daughter was younger, she was convinced that if she was to go get a shot, that her blood would boil. I mean, adamantly convinced. Would not listen to anything I said because this is what she heard at school. And she's been like that a lot of her life. Well, I think we have a epidemic of this situation. Social media has taken the whole prospect of what we used to have to do, which is go out and figure out how we respond to people. Think about it. If I'm out at a bar and I'm trying to pick up a girl and I want to have my game on, I want to think clearly about how I'm going to respond to situations because that's how I'm going to win. That's how I'm going to stand out. Whether it's telling a joke, whether it's being cute or funny, it's all about timing. It's all about paying attention to your situation and making the right moment and saying the right thing so that you stand out. So that girl remembers you over anybody else. She remembers you over anybody else that talked to them. You stand out. If they see you again in that bar the next time, identity right there. They are focused. They're like, oh, I remember him. Oh, he not only cute, he was really funny. They go back remembering that. But now, in the time of social media, people just put down the first thing that pops in their head. Every single time. Straight on to whatever platform they're using, dating site, X, Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't matter. Just the first thing. We got to do it instantaneously, in real time, at a concert, at a comedy show, in a bar. Like, it has taken over our communication method of how we speak and relate to each other. And as time has gone on, the problem is that we're doing it outside in real life now. We are interacting with people the same way we interact with social media. We are talking to people as if we are tweeting at them. So what is that causing? Causing the inability for us to know how to properly negotiate conversations and interactions with other human beings. That's only going to get worse. I know the phrase is you can't put the genie back in the bottle and social media is upon us and we need to learn how to deal with it, but I think sometimes that we have to try. If we can, we should. well, I'm not one of those people that's going to say all the older generations were better. No, we didn't have to face it. In fact, I feel like if you just dropped social media onto any other previous generation, they would have ended up in the same situation. It just didn't exist. It's not a fair comparison. Neither is it fair to not take the fact that we didn't experience it, so we are in a whole different mindset as we confront it. This individual became so angry and had so few words to use to explain that anger that they decided they wanted to end the conversation completely, for good. And they did. And they felt justified doing it. Why? Because they felt they were right. And that's the heart of the matter, is that they weren't. And now you have all of these people out here celebrating choices that are despicable. And what that's going to eventually do is it's going to eventually frustrate the other side to such an extent that while they have been relatively calm up until now, to extreme action. Yeah, we can all celebrate. Nobody's, burning cars or flipping things over or whatever right now, but that's not something we should be celebrating. That's like that old thing. It's like, oh, you want a cookie? This is what common human interaction is supposed to be. But it's not going to last. And you just look at the agitation and the celebration. You look at people on social media saying, oh, it's, somebody was going to do it eventually and all this other stuff. A lot of these are young people. Sure, nothing is ever 100%, but doesn't it show you how completely brain rot these generations are? And the ones coming up are even worse. I don't think they know how to have a proper relationship. They don't want to face things as basic as puberty, as changing, as feeling uncomfortable, so they decide they'll just transition into another gender. Because then we don't have to face those body changes. We don't have to face the feeling of not feeling proper in our bodies that puberty brings to all of us. We want to crawl out because we're not good looking enough, attractive enough. We don't know how to behave. Our legs are growing our bodies. Our arms are twice as long as our legs, whatever. It's this weird amalgamation of changes. And we're not preparing future generations to know how to properly deal with it from a psychological level. So they just assume that they're in the wrong body because that's what they've been told. That's what the narrative is that's floating around. It is no longer acceptable for us to just let these type of things go. If we care at all about the future, if we care at all about society going forward, this is just a drop in the bucket, and it's a horrible one. But hasn't it made you stand up and notice how bad people are? Sure, people have been walking around for a while saying, oh God, humans are despicable. People are just so bad these days. The world is so messed up. There's no phrase in there that makes it sound like it can't get worse. Because it can. And it will. If people don't pay attention to what they need to do to stop it. And the first thing we can do is learn how to talk again. Get off of these 5 minutes vomiting first thing in your head type of bullshit and just think about what you want to say, how you want to communicate. And I'm going to go back to what I said before. There needs to be consequences. Yep, the person that committed this horrible act is going to face consequences. But we need the people that are celebrating it to face consequences. Not from us. We're not police officers. We don't need to go out there and take it into our own hands. Then we're no better than the people that did it. No, they need to face consequences of going to jail, being sued, going to a mental asylum, whatever it needs to be. From what I said in my previous consequences video, the lack of these consequences is what's the problem. They feel like they can do whatever they want, so they do. So we need to make sure they stop feeling like you can do whatever you want. If you make a statement like that on social media, yes, you should lose your job. Yes, you should lose access to social media. There should be a way to remove you off of that function completely. Because you destroyed the purpose that these things were originally meant for. You're using it to spread hate. You're using it to celebrate death. It doesn't matter. This person never did something so horrible as to deserve to lose their life. And on top of that, the ideas being shared are shared by plenty of other people. Do they all deserve to die too? Or are they okay because they just keep their mouths shut? Is that what we want to encourage? Just being quiet, not saying anything at all in order to keep yourself safe? I don't know if that's a world I want to live in. It certainly sounds like a lot of other societies that we seem to want to brag that we're above, but we're not acting that way. I'm going to finish up. I know this is a shorter one, but this is off the cuff because this really stood out to me. This really stood out to me and put fear in my heart about where we're headed. We need to stop letting this happen. We need to let society know it is unacceptable to just do and say whatever you want. There's nothing wrong with a good debate. But people are taking actions into their own hands, and they are not mentally developed enough to do it. Go watch some of the videos of these interactions. Listen to how the other people have no argument or basis to stand on. You're going to sit there and be like, oh my God, how are they so stupid? They didn't think they were stupid. And when they realized how stupid they sounded in front of all of these people become angry. We need to find a better way. And